So here comes Jaideep. So Jaideep, he'll start explain. What have you understood, Jaideep? How would you solve in different methods? It is shown here, a stone is thrown vertically upwards with initial velocity v0. We have to calculate distance traveled in this particular time. So Jaideep, if you were to explain, how would you go about explaining and how would you go about solving this question?
The total time given is 4 V0 by 3G. We can write that as V0 plus V0 by 3G.
Okay. So basically, why we have to split into two parts? See, I think the
V0
first
by
question.
G gives us the time of ascent.
So basically, what is the first thing when we have to do? Whenever we come across distance travel in case of 1D motion, what do we need to check? We need to check this. We are calculating distance travel between time. There's initial time t1 here, which is 0. And we are calculating between time t2, which is equal to 4v0 by 3g. Okay, so if the particle changes its direction between this time and this time, then only we need to, it will not be equal to displacement. So what is the first thing we need to do? First thing what we need to do, we need to check what is the time when the particle comes at rest. I am giving a more general method. So, okay, so whenever distance travel you have to calculate, first thing what we need to do, check t when particle comes to momentary rest. Particle, sorry, not particle, comes to momentary rest, or comes to momentary rest means we equate the velocity 0. And what is the time where it comes to momentary rest here? In this case, t0 is equal to v0 by g. So if the time which is given here is more than this, it means it also involves a change in direction. Now this is something, this is 300 engine, so it clearly indicates here there's a change in direction. Now there are multiple ways of solving this question. What are multiple ways? And reason is easy, we understand here. So what would happen here? This is t is equal to 0, initial point. This is the time where t0, it comes to momentary rest. And this is the time at which, this is my t2 here. The t2 is equal to 4v0 by 3g. So what will happen here? So if we have to calculate displacement comes to like this. So the one way of calculating, the multiple ways of calculating this one. One way of calculating is calculate magnitude of displacement from where to where? From 0 to t0. And then you calculate magnitude of displacement from t0 to 3v0 by 3g. And add those magnitudes of displacement. That's one way of solving. And we know what is this displacement equal to? This displacement is equal to h max. And what is this displacement here? All we have to do, we have to calculate the time. What is this time interval? So this is the interval during which it was going up. And how do we calculate this displacement here? Okay, let's calculate what is the time interval here. This period is, the time of fall can be calculated is equal to 3v0 by 3g minus, sorry, 4v0 by 3g. Sorry, here also written 4v0 by 3g minus t0. And what is the t0 equal to? So what is the time of fall? So I'm separately calculating displacement during fall period. And then I'll add up magnitudes. I'm calculating separately this magnitude and S2 magnitude. For S2 magnitude, to calculate S2, I need to know what is the time interval for which it falls. And that time interval will be equal to this minus t0. Once I get the time interval, then I can easily calculate the distance it will fall will be equal to 1 by 2 gt square. Let's see how much is the t will come to here. This t will come equal to 4v0 by 3g minus v0 by g, which is equal to v0 by 3g. I can calculate, substitute here, and I can add S1 and S2. Are we clear about this also? Jaideep, is this clearly understood?
Yes, sir.
No, so this also we could have done. So whenever since the magnitude, we are in the distance traveled is magnitude, we calculate from starting time till which instance? Till the instance comes to rest, and then from the instance it has come to rest to the final time. Can you also think of, okay, that's one way, distance travel equal to displacement only at the time of ascent. So we can do that one. T has to be downward path, and we can calculate this. So other method, as we discussed, what is the second method of calculation? We can calculate displacement. That's one way. I hope all of you understood. I can erase it off, and then I can do other method also. So you can just see that what are the different logics we can apply. As Vignesh was mentioning here, if I substitute, if I calculate S value, I can calculate S value using this formula by substituting T is equal to this. If I substitute this T here, it will give me, so what are the two instances I'm applying it to? This is my initial instance and this is my final instance. So if I, so initial velocity corresponding to, so time interval is from here to here. If I substitute it here, I will get this S value. So actual distance traveled will be equal to 2h minus 2hm minus s. That's also we can calculate. Can we also use a graph method? So without pen to paper also mentioned. See, if you think in terms of VT graph, how would it look like in terms of VT graph? Can you all visualize how will be? Because whenever the displacement distance travel, I feel even velocity time graph also is a very easy tool to use for displacement, distance travel. So if I plot into a velocity time graph, this is velocity and this will be t here and the shape will be something like this. Okay, and what would this value will be? This will be equal to v naught and this value t naught here, and t naught will be equal to v naught by g, which will be equal to t naught here. And this is the time at which we have to calculate, which is equal to 4 v naught by 3g. So what I need to do in terms of VT graph, and I easily notice this part is 1/3. This part is compared to this time interval, this interval is 1/3. And what does this area indicate? What does this area of the triangle indicate? Tejas, what does this triangle indicate?
Yes, sir, it's the displacement, right, sir? Well, till
Which,
it goes
during
to
which, huh?
till it comes to momentary rest.
Till it comes to, so this indicates
Yes.
my H max.
H max.
And since if compared to this time interval is 1/3, so area will become 1/9. So whatever area we have, this area will be 1/9. So if I have to calculate displacement, it becomes this area minus this area. If I have to calculate the distance traveled, it is equal to this area plus this area. So that will become H max plus 1 by 9. So it will become, so I hope all are clear. So there are different ways of solving. I hope all methods are clear. Samhita? Pranav, Soma?
Yes, sir.
Are you following so far?
Yes, sir.
Are you getting better? Are you very clear about how to use formula? I think many times people are not clear how to use formula. It's always at 2 points and 2 points in the order of time, in the time sequence. Okay, and let's see if we understand this easy. Okay. Let's go to some more questions based on this. I hope this is clear. This question, and even this question also is a common kind of question. A rocket is fired which ascends with a constant acceleration of 10 meters per second square. It fuel exhaust after 1 minute and it continues to move as a free object. Find the maximum height reached by the rocket. So all of you think how you're going to solve it. And again, okay, sorry. So this is something at the previous, okay. And you can also think of, can I answer this question again, like without putting pen to paper? So I'll give you a couple of minutes. All of you think how you're going to solve this question. Go through that again. So we could have solved using equation, but we can also solve without equation. What in terms of equation, what we would have done? We could divide its motion into 2 parts. Let's go through. In this case, first of all, why rocket is going up with an acceleration of 10? Because the rocket will have kind of flue gas. Flue gas, it gives you exerts an upward force. Force is equal to twice the gravitational pull. Hence, the net force, it is something like this. So, its rocket is mg is acting downwards, but because of fuel which is getting exhausted, it will exert a force equal to 2 mg. This is due to rocket propulsion system, and that's why it has upward acceleration g. But moment this propulsion system gets exhausted, again it will have a net force acting mg. It will have downward acceleration. The force is equal to twice the gravitational pull. for the first 1 minute due to propulsion system, hence the network acceleration. So what you can calculate here, so there are two parts of journey from starting from A up to point B. This is where it will have upward acceleration of 10, and from B to till it reaches the maximum point here. This also velocity is 0. This also finally velocity will become 0. In this case, there will be downward acceleration of 10. So I can calculate velocity here. It will increase from 0 to V. Again, it will decrease from V to 0. And we can calculate total height. We can do step by step, or other way of saying this one, and let's see other way also, or you can do equal to twice. Acceleration is 10. Hence, velocity at 60 seconds will be 300. So average speed 0 to 600, it will become 300, and time interval is 60. So 300 into 60 in terms of meter converted into per kilometer, it is 18 kilometer. So by the time the fuel gets exhausted, it would have risen to height of 18 kilometer, and it would have acquired a speed of 600. So until this point, the speed was increasing. Thereafter, speed start falling. So after 1 minute, only force acting is gravity. Hence, it will have downward acceleration minus 10. Velocity at the beginning of interval will be 600. So I can calculate the second distance also, which again, it is something like this. So that's the kind of motion. It moves from A to B with plus 10 acceleration, and from B to C minus 10. So if I look in terms of VT graph, the shape will come something like this. It is exactly similar to what we discussed yesterday also. If you look at VT graph, upward direction positive, VT graph will look like this. But unlike the train, VT graph will continue, but beyond this we're not interested. This is the point where it will have maximum displacement, which maximum height it will reach. This is the distance traveled during upward acceleration. This is the distance traveled during downward acceleration. And two areas are equal. So another way of very quickly you have to do it without any pen and paper. This velocity, maximum velocity it will acquire will be 600. And this time interval is 1 minute. So this also, since the d acceleration are equal, this also is 1 minute. So total duration of travel is 120 seconds. Average velocity is 300. 300 into 120 is the maximum height it will rise. Tejas, is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's clear, sir.
RH?
Yes, sir, clear.
All methods are all clear. We can do it in multiple ways, and no harm in knowing. See, perhaps Jaideep doesn't like multiple ways. He likes only one method, or some people may like more than one way also. So further height, we can get an answer without pen and paper. Right. This is something, same idea, exactly the same idea what we had here, which we discussed yesterday. Same idea is applicable here as well. Okay. Now coming to next question. This kind of all questions also common. Again, all of you read through this question. This is a fairly easy question to solve. Okay. So what is the logic we are going to use? Who is going to tell me what is the logic in terms of words? And then we can, based on this, yes, tell me.
In the time of descent of the object, the boat should travel 12 meters.
Perfect. I'm very happy with that logic. That's how it should be. Very nice. That's what has happened here. So what it says, if both of them reach at the same point. So during the time, the object has fallen by distance of 45 meters. Boat has traveled a distance of 12 meters at a constant velocity. So based on, if I identify the simple logic here, two objects both will constitute a small object. I have mentioned, I hope this is clear. Because if all such cases, we need to assume it's a point-like object. So during time, the stone falls from a height of 45 meters. Boat travels a distance of 12 meters. So I equate those two things here. So distance traveled by 12 meters. And time taken, and you know what is the time it takes to fall by, if height is h, time taken to fall from height h is equal to root 2h by g, starting from rest. Because if this is h here, what is the time it will take here? Displacement is h. So we take this as initial point, this is final point. And if this is initial point and final point, in this particular case, we can take downward direction positive, and very easily displacement is equal to h. The time taken s is equal to 1 by 2 gt square. So that will, you get this relationship. Okay. So t is equal to root 2h by g. So this is the time. This time we equate with the travel time. So if this boat is traveling speed v, it will take a time 12 by v. That's the equation, and we can easily solve. So once we get the logic, it's very easy question to solve. And this kind of question we also come across in several other cases also, a fielder running and taking a catch. So those who have seen IPL, it happens unless if you time your run properly. So by that time, ball completes its time of flight. The other fielder also should have a displacement. It should reach that point at the same instance. Both should reach the same point. Okay, let's see this question now. Again, you'll have a couple of minutes to think through. How do we convert into an equation? So what does collision means? Two particles two particles are at same position for a real value of t. And then this is the time at which they collide. So either what I have to do, I have to write. So if you have to use this condition mathematically, if time when the first ball is projected taken to be t is equal to 0, the position of A. So I'm just one I'm trying to solve using position. What will be the position of particle A as a function of time? Its position will be equal to displacement. Displacement will be, since I take this as origin, displacement and position is same. I substitute this value u plus 1 by 2 at square. In this equation, if I substitute u value is 40, I am taking upward direction positive. 1 by 2 g is negative minus 5t square. And this equation is valid during time of flight. This valid equation is not valid infinitely. It is valid from time 0 is equal to t is equal to 8 seconds. Because the speed of projection is 40, it will reach maximum height in 4 seconds and fall back in 8 seconds. This is how the position and for t I can express as a function. Now for particle B, what is the position time function? Again, if I similar way, since it starts 2 seconds later, I have to write t minus 2. Its velocity is t, it is t minus 2. Because this is when actually t is equal to 2 seconds it starts. So since I have to use same reference, and minus 5, and in place of t square, t minus 2 square. And this relationship is valid from what time to what time? From the time of projection is equal to t is equal to 2 up to 10. So it means both these equations are, is this understood by all? What I have written here, if something is, if this is a time, if I have t is equal to 0, moment I fire the first projectile A, if I set the stopwatch ticking, the time start from here. So time is reckoned from here only. So if I measure the time, if I use the same time measurement, for the second particle, which start 2 seconds later, time has to be written like this. And I hope all of you follow this one. If not, just go through that again, see that you understand how we write. So this is equal to t to 10 seconds. So if they have to collide, which what both values have to be equal. That's what collision means. So this is s coordinate, and this has to be equal. And when we equate both two and we solve, we get t is equal to 5 seconds. So what does it mean? 5 seconds after the first one is fired, or 3 seconds after the second one is fired, both of them go and collide. So, but we don't have to find time. Actually, what I require to find height at which it collides. So once we have found out time, it collides at t is equal to 5 seconds. So either I can calculate displacement of A from this equation, or I can calculate displacement of B from this equation. Both will come same. We can find height at which collision will take place. So this is one way, and the reason I gave in this particular, Anish, are you following this?
Yes, sir.
This is clear. Why I have written t minus 2?
Yes, sir.
So basically at 2 seconds it starts. This is something, if you start later, it comes as minus. This is one way. This question is ideally it can be solved using relative velocity. So let's see how we solve using relative velocity. So what do we in terms of relative velocity? Let's do a different method. This is one way by forming equation. So what I look at, if I look at t is equal to 2 seconds, what would my figure look like at t is equal to 2 seconds? At t is equal to 2 seconds, the second projectile is about, it is right at the bottom, is just fired at velocity of 40 meters per second. But this has already been traveling for 2 seconds. If it is traveling for 2 seconds, it means its speed must have got reduced by 20. speed will become 20. So 40, this speed has become 20 in 2 seconds. So in this 2 second, average speed is 30. It means it has risen by a height of 60 meter. It must be at a height of 60 meter. Okay. So I'm just using some tips here. So this is the state, and so now how would they collide? If I use concept of relative velocity, if I call this as B and this is A, both will have same acceleration. The relative acceleration is 0. It is equivalent to if you are sitting in car B and this is car A which is going slower, the car, as seen from B, the projectile A will appear to be moving towards B with the speed of 20 meter per second. And the acceleration is 0. And if it is appearing to be moving at 20 meter per second, since the separation between them is 60, it will take 3 seconds for it to collide. So that's how we could have calculated using relative velocity. Anish, is this understood?
Yes, sir.
Should I repeat second part?
No, sir.
Is clear?
Yes, sir.
Advay,
Yes, sir.
is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. And this is something you can do. And moment you have 3 seconds here, I can easily calculate 3 seconds. I can either use the formula, what is time, or 3 second velocity will become 10. If it's after 3 seconds, what is distance will travel? So 3 and 40, 50, whether this average speed becomes 25. So 25 into 3, 75 meter it will rise. So that is how we can solve. Next question. And this is something, it brings out some other property also, which is pretty useful. This is something let's do in a very little different way. See what will happen here. Let's take the time of collision. At this time, the collision takes place after t second. I'm just giving so that it becomes a little easier. So at t second, so it has fallen for t second, and this has from here it has risen for t seconds. So if at the time of collision, velocity of A, sorry, I think I'll just clear it off and then I'll start writing from here. So velocity of if let the collision takes place after time t, since it is starting from rest, this ball A will have a velocity equal to gt. Okay. Now what will happen to velocity of B here? Velocity of B also can be calculated. U plus AT formula if I apply here. Velocity of B here will be U minus, sorry, I've made a mistake. Velocity of B point here will be U minus GT. But what is GT? In place of GT, I can substitute B. So what does mean? Whatever speed it has gained, in the same time interval, it has to lose the same speed, which makes very common sense. Okay. So whatever it has to gain velocity V, it has lost velocity V, because both are traveling for same time interval with same acceleration. So this is the velocity of particle P. Now let me use the condition. What is the condition given here? This velocity of A is twice the velocity of B. So if I use that condition, I find the speed of projection U has to be equal to 3 by 2. So everything I can write in terms of V. That's what I get here. This value U is equal to 3V by 2 at the time of projection. So when the time it reaches here, what is this velocity here? If U is equal to 3V by 2, it will be V by 2 here. This one is V by 2. This velocity is V and this is 0. Once I have this one, very little calculation, I can arrive what is the fraction of height where collision takes place. So what is the fraction of height where collision takes place? Is h2 divided by h1 plus h2. That's the height where collision takes place. And what is h2 here? h2 is average velocity into time interval. So what is average velocity here? Average velocity is, this is 1.5 v and this is 0.5 v. So for this particle, average velocity is v. And for here, this average velocity is v by 2. So it means compared to h1, h2 is twice as much. So height at which the collision takes place is 2i3h. Okay. Is this understood? Jaideep?
Yes, sir.
Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
All parts, how did I calculate fraction of height where the collision has taken place?
Yes, sir.
No, we have taken average velocity. Time, I am taking advantage of the fact that time interval for motion of this and this is equal. I am taking advantage of that. The time interval cancel out. So the time interval I used in 2 places. These are 2 places I have used. Whatever time speed it has gained, it has lost same speed. And when we are calculating the distance traveled, time interval equal. So ratio of distance traveled will be in proportion of average speed. So I am using the concept of average speed also. Okay. So this makes it a lot easier. I hope other people also have followed. Hemant,
Yes, sir.
is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay, so this is another question, and then there are different ways. So I thought this is something not a common way of solving this question, but it helps you, and you keep in mind which factor I have used. Hemant, tell me, I just mentioned here, which important factor I have used in solving this question here.
The time intervals would be same. So
Very
we-
good. So time interval, this also same time interval, same acceleration. So whatever time velocity it gains, it loses same velocity here, it's same speed here. And per time interval being equal, that distance traveled will be in proportion to average speed. Good. That's what we made use of. And that's why if you use that information intelligently, it becomes easier. Now, so that's what I had for today. And